The Southern Appalachians were host to a terrifying shape-shifting witch, but it's probably not the Navajo one or even the Algonquin one that you've seen reference to it. I'm talking about Utlunta, or the Spearfinger. Utlunta was a Cherokee witch. She hung out in between eastern Tennessee and western North Carolina, what is now the Cherokee National Forest and the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. On the Tennessee side, it was Chilhowie Mountain, and on the North Carolina side, it was Whiteside Mountain and the Nantahala Gorge. Spearfinger lived off human livers, and she was particularly fond of children's livers, and she could take on whichever shape she suited, whatever pleased her. She often took on the shape of loved ones and people known to the children that were her victims. Natural form, however, she was somewhat of an old hag with a very stony skin and a very long index finger on her right hand that came to a very pointy tip, hence the name, the Spearfinger. Now, it was with that finger that she procured the livers of her victims, but it was painless. In fact, they didn't pass away until several days later. The whole procedure was very painless. They had no idea it even happened. It didn't leave a mark, and she was long gone before they started falling victim, and dropping off from these injuries sustained. She was made of stone. It's also said that stones would break beneath her feet. That was one way you could tell it was her. Also, the sound of rolling thunder would accompany her. And also, if you saw flock birds all of a sudden just take off from their positions, that was another good clue that there was a Spearfinger. Favorite time of year was the fall. That is the time where traditionally the Cherokee would light fires to burn away the leaves to roast and reveal the chestnuts that would sustain them through the winter time. The abundance of smoke would draw her from her roost in the mountains, and that is when she would attempt to, lure away the stragglers amongst the people by presenting herself as someone familiar to them. And that is how she would take down entire households, by the way. One unsuspecting victim would come along, and then she would present herself as that person after they passed, and by that way, she would take out entire households. She would just pretty much embed herself in those homes after she got one victim. Well, she became a great threat. It was caught on pretty quickly by the Cherokee what was going on. And a hunter one day happened upon her, singing her song. He caught her in her natural form. So a council was held amongst the Cherokee people, and they basically decided that they would trick her at her own game. They created a big bonfire to imitate the fall fires when they gathered the chestnuts, and they had made a big pitfall for her with sharpened poles, for her to fall amongst, and ultimately worked. The smoke did draw her down from her mountain home, and she did indeed fall into this big pitfall. The only problem was that she took her original form as soon as this happened, and she extended her long spear finger, poking every which direction, trying to impale whoever she could upon it. And their weapons were ineffective totally against it. They were just splinter and break against her stone skin. Ultimately, a little celestial intervention happened. A chickadee was sent down from the heavens, and it landed on her wrist, on her right wrist, and it exposed her heart. her heart was exposed right there where that wrist went into her arm is where her heart was. And so one true shot did make its mark. It hit her exposed heart, and she was conquered. She fell down and withered away. Now that's been the story of Tlunta, the Spearfinger, and that's been Jay's Haunted Appalachia for tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed the story. Keep sending me your stories and suggestions, guys, and keep Appalachia haunted, y'all.